Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime. Let me get the documents ready for you. We are looking at the Delphi case today. There's been some massive developments, which I'm sure you've seen from my community tab. I put the video there for you. My YouTube shorts, the news in general. So let's discuss that together because, oh my goodness. That was a big shift in the case, right? Basically, it's back to square one because they've got to get a new defense team now. So welcome to all my moderators. Thank you for everything that you do. Welcome to all my patrons. Thank you to everyone who's made it over to Patreon. If you haven't yet checked it out, do so. And welcome to all my members, all the OGs, original Grizzlies, and then everyone who's going to subscribe today. Welcome to you as well. Okay, Wildfire says crazy, right? I know, right? You say crazy, right, G? Really? Wow, that was... I can't really say I completely didn't expect that because it sounded like it, especially when I saw this document, I'm like, something's up and they know it. I mean, it's a massive deal if the crime scene photos leak out and if it came somehow from the defense team. That's huge. Of course. Okay. So if you don't know anything about this case, I would highly recommend checking out my playlist. It's a really good place to start. We've done many deep dives and many recaps. The case of Libby German and Abby Williams, who were murdered in Delphi on February 13th of 2017. So it's been a long road for the families to fight for justice for these two girls who were so young, going out on a walk in broad daylight, and who were brutally murdered. So a lot of things have happened along the way that it just feels so heartbreaking, for them and for their families. So let's here in this community do our best to keep the focus, okay, on Abby and Libby, because that's what it's about. Thank you so much, Burmy girl. Really appreciate it. So don't feel sorry for Richard Allen now because he's abandoned. It's not he. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh no, what about him and all of that. We should be thinking about Libby and Abby first, okay? Right. Okay. So yes, we are going to go over that Sally Cinnamon. If you haven't yet liked and shared this video, please do so. Hashtag Abby and Libby or Libby and Abby. You could also say hashtag Delphi, hashtag Richard Allen, and hashtag Grizzly True Crime. That would be very, very helpful. So I just want to start with this, and then we're going to look again, even if you've seen it, we're going to look at it together. We're going to be looking at that 3-minute hearing that happened yesterday. 3 minutes. I mean, I thought maybe it's going to be like a 5-hour hearing and kind of admin heavy, and, then I would bring you the summary today. That's what I thought was going to happen. But I'm like, whoa, 3 minutes, a 3-minute hearing, and it was done. That was quite a turn of events. So what happened yesterday, if you missed it, that's why we're going over the timeline as well of what happened yesterday. Yesterday on the 19th of October, a few days before, actually, the judge had said, okay, there's going to be a hearing to prepare for the hearing on October 31st. So that hearing on October 31st is still happening, but minus the defense team. I'm sure at that point, I hope so, they'll have a new defense team for Richard Allen at that October 31st hearing. So that's not too far away. 11 days from now is the hearing that was always scheduled there. But then already with this hearing on the 19th and then getting, wind of what happened, like, oh, okay, so crime scene photos were leaked and there's more than one person in this chain of events and one person even took their own life and all kinds of stuff. This was very hectic. So the judge said that she's going to have this hearing on the 19th, which was yesterday, in order to discuss matters that have recently come up and then to prepare for the hearing. Okay? So, everyone was ready for that, and off they went. But then, in the morning, sometime in the morning, before that hearing, this was filed, and this said, State of Indiana, County of Carroll, State of Indiana versus Richard Allen. Memorandum regarding possible disqualification or sanctions. That was already like, oh dear. So a discussion must have been had, and they knew they were in trouble. By they, I mean Andrew Baldwin, one of the defense attorneys. The defense attorneys' names for Richard Allen, they are, they were Bradley Rozzi and Andrew Baldwin. So this is about Andrew Baldwin responding to, the leaks, basically. Angela says, I literally had a visceral response like a mom to a son, and I'm 49 with a son, 31. I'll thank you, Angela, for your sticker there. So they said here, it's 5 pages long. I'm not going to read all, of these references, because that's all lots of legalese. As you know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just going to get to the point here. So they said, any issues or concerns regarding representation should be focused on the 6th Amendment and Article 1, Section 13 rights of the accused. Continuity of counsel is critical for adequate representation. Article 1, Section 12 of the Indiana Constitution must also be given consideration. Mr. Allen has developed a strong and trusting bond with Mr. Baldwin. Disqualification of either his court-appointed attorneys would greatly prejudice his right to counsel and a timely trial. So, I mean, that is... I don't know what to say about that, really. They say he's formed a bond with Richard Allen, and he doesn't want to be kicked off the case, basically. So it sounded more like fighting for his job, as in Andrew Baldwin. Remember, these are public attorneys, public defense attorneys. So they're going to get some new attorneys. Well, he's going to get some new attorneys assigned. Okay, so here they say, disqualification of counsel is an extreme remedy for any alleged or perceived violation of a court's order. Most, if not all, cases concerning disqualification of counsel involve conflicts of interest. There's no case allowing disqualification when an individual not part of the attorney's office or staff surreptitiously purloins information from the attorney and disseminates it without permission of the attorney's knowledge. Furthermore, so he's already defending himself. You see, the defense attorney was defending himself. Furthermore, any sanction requires proof of knowing, willful, or intentional conduct, as do the rules of professional conduct. Here, the attorney's trust and office were violated without his knowledge. Rule 1.6 IRPC requires disclosure by an attorney, not someone that purloined information without the attorney's knowledge. Commentary 16 to that rule states, a lawyer must act competently to safeguard information relating to representation of a client against inadvertent or unauthorized disclosure by the lawyer or other persons who are participating in the representation of the client or who are subject to the lawyer's supervision. See rules 1.1, 5.1, and the disseminators. Okay, so and then they say and 5.3, the disseminators do not fit that definition. Don't you think it gets a little bit hectic that under their watch, somebody got into his office? You know what I mean? It's a very, very high profile case. You've got to keep that locked up. Okay, so they say Attorney Baldwin did nothing wrong. He was snookered and abused. Oh dear. Snookered and abused. See, snookered and abused sounds opposite to I had no idea. It's kind of contradicting, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I had no idea that someone was going into my office looking at those things. But now they're like, I was snookered and abused. Oh dear. Retro AI says, don't be shy, lurkers. We're a friendly bunch of bears. Yes, welcome to all the lurkers. Don't be shy. Say hi in chat. If you feel shy to chat, don't worry. We are a very friendly bunch. Okay, you can chat with us. So if you are just lurking and you are shy, don't worry. Thank you for being here and watching. Yeah, Catherine says, oh dear. Wildfire says, snookered? Odd word. Yeah, and Tom Webster says, the former employee was helping on the case, supposedly. Doesn't sound professional, right? Oh dear. So then they said Attorney Baldwin did nothing wrong. He was snookered and abused. And they give other references, which I'm sure are very interesting to look into. But for now, we're just gonna power through, right? So here they said which reversed the conviction because the trial court erroneously disqualified the counsel. So now they're saying, what if, a conviction is reversed because the trial court erroneously disqualifies counsel when the accused had waived any perceived conflict? Okay, so continuing on there. It's quite long, actually. Just hold on one second. We are on page 3 of 5. Let's just read it. We note at the outset that defense counsel was disqualified in response to the state's motion and not in response to the defense's request for substitute counsel. Where it is the government which moves to disqualify defense counsel, the burden is on the government to show that any infringement on the defendant's choice of counsel is justified. And they give more references for the proposition that the 6th Amendment right to counsel of choice reflects a constitutional protection of the defendant's free choice independent of the concern for the objective fairness of the proceeding. Now just bear with me if you've seen the documents before, because we're going to be looking at video clips. We're going to look at yesterday's hearing and analyze every little bit of it. I'd already zoomed in, watched it at 0.25 speed, then faster, then just to be like, what is going on in there? The whole fleet of law enforcement was there, as in Doug Carter, there was Jerry Holman, All of them. All of them were there, which was already quite odd. I'm like, whoa, something big's going to happen. And it did. The trial court reconsidered its earlier ruling and granted a continuance. So see, this is all about a different case, and they're just referencing it, of course, to build their case here. So let's just go down. So here they say, this is now page 405. The issue before the court is a horrible tragedy created by persons not related to the defense of Mr. Allen. I think, yes, the horrible tragedy, though, is the murders of Libby and Abby. And he's the suspect. And I know that they are the defense attorneys. That's why I say the focus must be on Libby and Abby. But they said there were 3 disseminators. So each time I hear there's more and more. Because what I heard was that somebody had sent a YouTuber photos. And that somebody was a former associate of Andrew Baldwin. Then later, the murder sheet was on Court TV, and they said somebody who was a former associate of Andrew Baldwin gave the photos to someone else, and that person gave it to the YouTuber, and the YouTuber gave it to them. Then they called law enforcement. 2 days after they called law enforcement, some middleman there in the 3 disseminators took his own life. That's so odd. I mean, shame. It's terrible. I just understand why people are like, wait, what? Because it sounds a bit sus, right? So then, now they said that there were 3 disseminators, one of which committed suicide after the law enforcement investigation began. It should be considered that nothing has been disclosed that won't be disclosed at trial or hearings. See, that's a little irrelevant because it's pretty important information. It's crime scene photos, normally at trial or hearings. I don't know about hearings, seeing crime scene photos, but normally at trial, if they're showing the crime scene photos, it's within the court and maybe to the, of course, to the jury. I just mean not being streamed. They're still deciding whether they're going to have cameras in the courtroom or not too. They were fighting for cameras in the courtroom. But no, it's not normally in the hands of the public. Definitely not before a trial. Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate you. So love your content, G. Keep on grinding, please. Yes, we are doing it. And happy Friday to everyone. Thank you for joining. We're looking at all these Delphi updates, and this is just a little bit of the backstory. You know I like to do that. Just like, let's look at what happened first. Because this was very concerning. Yesterday when this came out, I was like, something's happening. It's almost like, when someone's about to get expelled from school, and they're like, oh, write a letter to the principal. That's what it felt like, right? And that's pretty much what happened there. Angela, welcome. So they said, it should be, this is no excuse. This is no excuse here. It should be considered that nothing has been disclosed that won't be disclosed at trial or hearings. It should also be considered that there have been volumes of information disseminated by law enforcement and or others not at all linked to the defense team. Okay, what are they talking about there? Mr. Baldwin trusted a friend to respect his office space. He was betrayed. Since that transgression, Mr. Baldwin has kept all Delphi-related items locked in a room or a locked fireproof file cabinet. Yeah, that should have happened from day one in such a high-profile case, I'm just saying. Sorry about that, but I'm just saying. Wow. So, furthermore, the defense counsel has put together a plan for a curative action in which no items will be left unattended for even a second in any unlocked room. When any documents or item from the case is needed for preparing the case, the person using the documents or items will either 1, lock the door behind them when they leave, even for a lunch break or bathroom break, or 2, return those documents or items to the room dedicated to the Delphi case and lock the door. Okay, Mr. Rozzi indicated there are vast amounts of trial preparation materials, and it would be a setback to the defense to have to relocate them. Under these circumstances, Mr. Baldwin has taken sufficient curative action. Should the court believe there should be some sanction, the court could order to 24 hours of representation without compensation. Respectfully submitted, David R. Hennessy. Now, he is apparently one of the top defense attorneys in the country. That's what people are saying about him. I don't know much about him, but apparently he's very good. And so that was already like, whoa, okay, you brought in the big guns. You know what I mean? Wow. Cleo said, thank you for the backstory. It's sad. It's going to further delay justice. This trial, there's no way it's going to happen on January 8th. It was scheduled for January 8th. The judges already said, okay, that's probably not going to happen because now when a new defense team is chosen, they're starting from scratch. I don't know how much they've been following the case or you know what, but they're starting from scratch to defend Richard Allen. Oh, there we go. Kerry said, this document is written by Atty Baldwin's personal lawyer, who's old school, hence the language. Okay, thank you so much. So that was that one document. And then yesterday, this also came out when they said limited appearance on behalf of Andrew J. Baldwin. Comes now, David R. Hennessy, and enters a temporary and limited appearance for Andrew J. Baldwin, appointed for counsel for defendant. 2. Attorney information for services required by trial rule and trial rule David R. Hennessy, attorney at law. Limitation, they said, representation on an issue that may involve disqualification or sanctions. Undersigned counsel is cognizant of the court's concerns regarding public disclosures and pledge compliance. So that was that. That was also a huge deal. And then, let me show you this now. Now we're going to look at the videos, okay? Let's do it like this. Okay, so here's... Actually, I want to show you another one first. I'm sure you've seen the hearing, right? Where's this other one? This one is so hectic. Like, the way that Andrew Rozzi, I mean, he must be quite pissed off. I really feel like, and people can differ in opinions, like, of course, no. I feel like he was doing a good job, you know? I was starting to uncover some of the red flags, the shady in Delphi, because there's sure something is not right there. So this is very unfortunate. And I just feel like his team member let him down, don't you think? Can't put all the blame on Baldwin. They are a team, and the files were probably in one office, am I right? But man, he looked so upset here. Let me just go back a little bit. Yes, right here. Okay. So let's go piece by piece here.
What I can share with you is that the defense attorney, Brad Rozzi, he walked into the...
Look in the background now. You'll see Andrew Baldwin, yeah, walks by the door. Tom, you saw the same as me. That's what I was playing at like half speed there. I'm like, oh, let me see that again. Because he's just like, kind of like slinking by, you know? Just like, okay. Look at this.
Courtroom. He approached Richard Allen's wife and mother in the gallery.
Is it not in
whispered
there?
Something to them. And then they all...
There must be another clip. Hold on.
What I can share with you is that the defense attorney, Brad Rozzi, he walked into the courtroom.
Oh, they clipped it right there. I'd seen it before. Wait, there he is. Isn't he there?
He approached Richard Allen.
There, he just like walks past the door. So that was already like, oh dear. Now look at him. Sorry, I shouldn't apologize. This is what we're doing. We're looking at all of this now. Look at this.
With you is that the defense attorney, Brad Rozzi, he walked into the courtroom.
To me, is immediately looking at Nicholas McCleland, the prosecutor. The eyes are looking at him like, okay. Anyway, and so in we go.
He approached Richard Allen's wife and mother in the gallery, whispered something to them, and then they all left the courtroom together. We would not see them again for the rest of the afternoon. Moments later, we understood what that was foreshadowing. The judge started the hearing.
I'll make it bigger. Okay, now you can see what I'm talking about there. Shame, but Richard Allen's wife, I mean, she looks devastated. Of course she is. I mean, I was listening to Defense Diaries earlier, defense attorney Bob Motter, and he was in the courtroom. I'm trying to see if I could see him here now. He was sitting right there somewhere. Anyway, he was in the courtroom and he just said, I mean, she is devastated. She cries a lot in the courtroom. Okay. So let's go here again. Look at this. As he tears through the room,
he approached Richard Allen's wife and mother in the gallery, whispered something to them, and then they all left the...
I like how they say, do you guys want me to boost it? I like how they say, whispered something to them. And I've actually seen a few people say that he whispered something. I don't think he's whispering. He's doing hand signals like, we gotta go, come. Off we go. Like, oh my goodness. Okay. I don't want to blast your eardrums with a boost. So he's like, look at they looking at him. This would be then Richard Allen's wife and mother right here. I mean, his wife, she's unrecognizable. She looks like a different person. Of course, this would change a person completely, right? Oh, so you could see right here. This is his wife, this is his mother. But she used to have like dark hair and, I don't know, shame. So they're just looking at him like, oh, wow, okay. T3 says he outwardly addressed them like an orchestra conductor. It was quite hectic, huh? To me, he looks really, really pissed off.
Courtroom together. We would not see them again for the rest of the afternoon. Moments later.
Oh, okay, here. There we go. Okay, Bob Motter. Yeah, let's go. And look, that's why we have to look at many times. I've looked at this many times. Look at Nicholas McCleland. This is the prosecutor, right? He's just scribbling something down. Now watch one more time. Look at McCleland. Look at McCleland. He's got his notebook. I'll boost it for you. He's got his notebook going on. Here we go.
Whispered something to them, and then they all left the courtroom together. We would not see them again for the rest of the afternoon. Moments later, we understood what that was foreshadowing. The judge started the hearing and she made a surprise announcement.
We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn their representation of Mr. Allen. Mr. Baldwin made an oral motion to withdraw. I granted that oral motion to withdraw, and Mr. Rozzi will be submitting a written motion to withdraw, I'm assuming within the next couple of days.
Okay, so we can continue to watch this little clip because they actually give us a whole bunch of information here, so let's listen to it.
So again, now that both of the attorneys have stepped down in the case, what comes next? Well, new counsel is going to have to be appointed. The judge said that that will happen because Richard Allen's status, he is still considered indigent. All the evidence that was shared with the defense team, that is going to have to be returned to the state. There is a hearing coming up on October 31st to set a new trial date. Whether the trial is going to be delayed a matter of weeks or months is yet to be seen, but this will likely be a significant delay in the trial for Richard Allen. And for the time being, certainly the January 8th trial date, the trial that was set to begin early next year, that date is now going to be off the books. So,
see, that's what they say. That date is now going to be off the books. I think that's pretty much the update there. Let's show you this one. There's another. We're going to look at a few clips here. I want to show you this whole clip where the judge talks because she talks about. She looks a little bit pissed off. There's another way. She's like, okay, and they have withdrawn. So Andrew Baldwin, the one who says he was snookered and abused, said that, he apparently orally withdrew, and then Bradley Rozzi is still going to submit his motion to withdraw. That will be, written notice. I don't know why Andrew Baldwin doesn't have to give written notice there, but okay. Carla says, I'm curious if they'll appoint out of Allen County or out of Carroll County. Me too. And remember, this hearing was held in Allen County, which is actually Judge Fran Gull's turf. It's her courtroom, usually. That's where she was from. Normally, the hearings were in Carroll County in Delphi. Okay, so here, she's got some water. Okay, she's coming into the courtroom. Let's have a listen to everything she said here.
Circuit Court's now in session. Elmo Fran Gull presiding.
Thank you. You may be seated. We on? All right, we are on the record in State of Indiana versus Richard Allen, 08C012210MR1. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. McCleland, Mr. Luttrell, for your patience. We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn their representation of Mr. Allen. Mr. Baldwin made an oral motion to withdraw. I granted that oral motion to withdraw, and Mr. Rozzi will be submitting a written motion to withdraw, I'm assuming within the next couple of days. They have confirmed with the court that...
Let me just pause it there. So yes, they've got beautiful courtrooms, all, it looks like marble and stuff, number one. Two, don't you think that the judge looks like she's just come out of those chambers out of a huge battle? She's like, Okay, we've had an unexpected turn of events, which I'm sure was not comfortable, knowing that they didn't usually have cameras in the courtroom for these hearings, but this one, kind of last minute, they granted cameras to be allowed in the courtroom via a media pool feed. No live streaming, but even though I saw a lot of the media outlets said they were going to live stream with a half an hour delay, maybe that was okay. That seemed to be like, I don't know, that's not what the court order said. They're like, film it, then release it, but they were going to release it with a half an hour delay, right? But all those streams were going, and then suddenly it was like, I just saw Law and Crimes 1 vanish, and I'm like, what happened? What? And then I heard about this hearing that only lasted 3 minutes. So what they said from people in the courtroom, because I watched a whole bunch of things now, right, is they could just feel the tension. It was a little bit late, and then it was a half an hour delay, and then they could see the judge and the attorneys like in the chambers and out of the chambers, and then back in the chambers, and they didn't see Richard Allen at all. He was brought there, but he was in the chambers the whole time. And then at some point, Bradley Rozzi came out to speak before, not the clip we just saw, but came out to speak to Richard Allen's wife. And then she was apparently in tears, so it just seemed very hectic. I'm sure everyone who was sitting in there, I think the capacity was like 90 people. Everyone who was sitting in there must have thought, whoa, this is going to be a huge day and like a massive hearing, like all-day event, but it turned out to be 3 minutes, and it was pretty shocking. Support was Stepha says, Grizzly, I was there in the gallery in that clip. Oh my word, the feeling in the courtroom was devastating. There we go. Devastating. That's probably the word I'm looking for. Thank you so much. Tell us more if you know more. Thank you, Support with Stepha. Really appreciate it. Wow. Okay, so now listen here to what the judge says here.
They have confirmed with the court that Mr. Allen's financial situation remains static, meaning he is continuing to be entitled to appointed counsel. I will reach out to public defenders to make that appointment. As Mr. Allen is now without counsel, I've ordered him transported back to the Department of Correction.
I really hope the behavior panel analyzes this whole clip, because I just love to know more insight, into all of this body language, just to be like, as Mr. Allen is now without counsel, I mean, it's a very stressful situation. He's without counsel. He's been sent back to the Westville Correctional Facility. I do hope that he'll be kept safe there. I mean, that's the whole point why he's there. Hope that he'll be kept safe there. Hope he's going to make it to trial. I'm sure he will be. We're just going to trust the process, right?
Mr. McCleland, I know that we have already scheduled a hearing in the Carroll Circuit Court October 31st at 9 a.m. I'd like to maintain that hearing if we can, please. Yes, I think at that point we can have counsel appointed. I'd like to set a new trial date, obviously. I don't believe counsel will be prepared within the next couple of months to try a case of this magnitude in January.
So this is the prosecutor, Nicholas McCleland. And so, yeah, they're making it clear that I don't think the new defense team is going to be ready by January 8th. So it's always like this in cases, right? Not like this. This is hectic. The Delphi case has been quite a wild ride, oh my word. Long, long road for the families. And families were here in the courtroom. So, yeah, it's going to be delayed. I don't know by how much.
So we'll set dates for the trial. I think we need to set a date as well for the suppression hearing that was filed now by former counsel. I have asked the attorneys to provide all of the discovery previously provided back to the state of Indiana. I know I entered a protective order on the discovery, and honestly, I don't remember when that was. I think it was in April of this year, perhaps, maybe sooner. But the attorneys have been ordered to provide all of that discovery back to the state.
Okay, so we're going to just pause it there. That's what's going to happen with the discovery, because I'm sure there's lots of questions like what happens now with all of that. C-Star said, Grizzly to crime, I think that the judge was angry that defense got past the gag order with the 136-page memo. So she got back at the defense by firing Baldwin, but she didn't expect Rozzi to quit. See, I'm not a lawyer, but I would like to know if one defense attorney is let go, fired, whatever, if he has to withdraw, does it mean the whole team has to go? Probably, right? Because it's a violation. It's a complete break of trust. But, yeah. Rozzi. There we go. David Gray said Rozzi quit in solidarity. So that is some of the thoughts. Yes. Okay.
And if you would maintain that until such time as it can be turned over to successor counsel, I would appreciate that, Mr. McCleland. Yes, Your Honor. I've also asked the defense attorneys to cooperate with successor counsel. They're not required to do that, but I think that they will in the best interests of Mr. Allen. They're not.
That's pretty interesting, right? That they're going to hand over all the discovery, and they might even help the new defense team. I wonder if they will. Do you think they will? There's so much, so many questions. There's so much to discuss here, actually. Oh man. So I missed a comment there. Anne Vroom said Baldwin firm has a world of trouble in front of them per investigations. Criminal, professional, state bar, civil suits, possible. Rozzi said, I want a divorce, and that blew up to both quitting. Yeah, like, I want a divorce. That blew up to both quitting. Support with Steffa says the daughter was not there. Kathy was there, and she was a mess. I would love to share my experience with all of you. Sure. Man, it must have been very hectic to be in there. Book Girl said this is devastating for justice for Abby and Libby. It is. It is.
Not required to provide any of their work product, but they will be required and have indicated that they will cooperate with successor counsel. So obviously, without counsel, Mr. Allen's hearing cannot proceed. I apologize that I know many of you have been waiting for several hours. I know, Mr. McCleland, you and your staff, and you had some witnesses here that came earlier to have the hearing, but clearly this is outside of our control. So is there anything, Mr. McCleland, that you'd like to state for the record?
No, Your Honor. I think we can address the other issues at the October 31st court date.
All right. With that being said, then, we are in recess. Thank you. I'll see you in October.
Okay, so October 31st is when they're going to see them again. We Say Howdier says, will the new team want that sort of help? I think not. Yeah, probably not. They probably want to start off on a brand new, clean slate. Like, no thank you. Just hand over the discovery and we'll take it from here, right? Kerry said, I'm worried that the issues with the correction officers who admitted during affidavits that they were followers of Odin are big. I know. I'm a little worried about that too, especially with the tasing. That, like, we only tased him twice. He wasn't complying. I don't know. He seems like, we don't know him, but he seems like someone timid and compliant at this point. You know what I mean? Just from what we can see. But of course, that just could be an act for the courtroom. Not that we saw him yesterday. I wonder how he's doing. Caroline said, departing attorney could say, here's the discovery, hand over boxes of documents, etc., and walk away. Or it could take time to explain to the new attorney what was going on before. And now the other interesting thing is that these attorneys are no longer bound by the gag order. Are they going to talk? Are they going to open a can of worms? Let us all know what's really going on in Delphi, because it could be quite interesting, right? I think they uncovered some interesting things, as much as many people prefer to dismiss that and be like, Odinism. The affidavits from the correction officers said, yes, okay, we have the patches. We did wear the patches. And they uncovered some interesting, not suspects, but like persons of interest to them, right? It was very interesting. So this is what an outcome, right? Were you shocked? Did you watch it live, you guys? Mary said, if the defense believes in the innocence of their client, I hope they do help the new defense. Thank you, Mary. I mean, they might. I wonder what they're going to do. Mary said, I wonder if Alan will be on, yes, watch. Taking his own life watch. Hopefully he'll be safe. Now let's listen over here to these clips as well. There's all these little bits of information that I wanted to share with you.
Hearing to discuss several motions, among them being what happened there on social media with that leak. But now we're done with this court hearing today. What happened inside and what are you hearing is happening next?
Well, first we started getting inklings as this started to develop through the day here at the Allen County Courthouse in Fort Wayne. At 10 o'clock this morning, an attorney, David Hennessy from Indianapolis, a noted defense attorney, entered a hearing. He also entered an appearance in the system that he would be representing Andrew Baldwin, the defense attorney at the center of this leak controversy.
Yes, the center of the leak controversy. Lori Freed said he is still innocent, not proven guilty. Exactly. Not proven guilty, wrong. He's still innocent until proven guilty. Also, SP74 said Holman and, Doug Carter and the whole fleet of law enforcement were in the well, ready to testify regarding the leaks, guessing they were going to contradict Hennessy's memo. That's a good point as well, because I was wondering why are all the law enforcement people we saw so often throughout the press conferences, why are they all there? That is, for me, how one could see, like, whoa, something big is about to happen. But they did say that the prosecutor, Nicholas McCleland, had brought along some witnesses. And so I guess if it was going to be an argument about the leaks and things, they'd be like, okay, from, like, we didn't leak anything, or to testify to it and all that, right? Book Girl says they can get disbarred if they talk. Oh dear. And they don't want that. I think their career is already a little bit on shaky ground right now, right?
As we reported earlier today, that motion and that filing by Hennessy said that Andrew Baldwin was, in his words, snookered and abused by an ex-employee who got access to the various documents in evidence and then leaked them to some social media Delphi case followers. Then as the afternoon progressed and we were back upstairs, we were waiting for this court hearing to begin at 2 o'clock. I recognized Hennessy, and I've covered him for many years. He was waiting outside the courtroom. We all filed in there at about 1 o'clock, and then as we clicked closer to 2 o'clock, at 1:50 p.m., Doug Carter, the Indiana State Police Superintendent, and Tony Liggett, the Carroll County Sheriff, who was the lead investigator on this case, were shown into the room. And it was at about that time that we saw the attorneys in the back hallways obviously going back and forth from Judge Gull's chambers to a holding area where Richard Allen was being held back there after he was brought here from the Westville Correctional Facility this afternoon. Sitting right in front of me and Fox 59's Max Lewis were Allen's wife and one of her associates. And at one point, Bradley Rozzi, the other defense attorney, came out, began speaking with the ladies, took them out of the courtroom. I took that at that moment to mean that this case was running off the rails, that they were advising these two ladies of a decision that had been made. So finally, at 2:29 p.m., Judge Gull comes into the courtroom a half hour later than anticipated. It was significant that the defense team and Allen were not represented in the courtroom, and that rather Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McCleland was there. And then the announcement was made, which you monitored back at the station, which we have not yet broadcast that actual announcement yet, that she had accepted Baldwin's a decision to withdraw from the case, and she said, for that matter, his co-counsel Bradley Rozzi is also going to withdraw from the case in the next couple of days.
Okay, let's just pause it there for a second and say the new defense team is not going to want to have taint of association with this dismissed team whatsoever, except to get the state's evidence as provided today. Yes. Thank you to all the legal experts in chat. There's lots of lawyers that are part of the Grizzly True Crime community, and I always appreciate your insights as well. Thank you so much for sharing. It does help a lot. Someone had said, Anne actually said, oh no, those attorneys are still bound by the gag order unless they want to lose their licenses to practice law in the state of Indiana completely. Sure, they don't want that. Welcome, Canadian True Crime Buff. And if I didn't say it verbally earlier, thank you so much, Doodle Mom. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to go back just a few seconds there. Here we go, like here.
Were not represented in the courtroom, and that rather Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McCleland was there. And then the announcement was made, which you monitored back at the station, which we have not yet broadcast that actual announcement yet, that she had accepted Baldwin's a decision to withdraw from the case, and she said, for that matter, his co-counsel Bradley Rozzi is also going to withdraw from the case in the next couple of days. Since Mr. Allen does not have counsel right now, he does not have attorneys, there's no reason for this hearing this afternoon. He is being shipped back to Westville Correctional Facility where he awaits in pretrial detention. Meanwhile,
damn, I wonder if he's like crapping himself right now, like, wait, what just happened? Yeah. Now he's got to start all over. Janet said they were scuttled quickly out of the courtroom. Thank you, Ether Bunny, for your sticker as well. Big Fish, Small Pond. I'll just catch up now quickly. Sorry, I'm missing a couple of your messages. Thank you so much, everyone, for leaving all your comments and thoughts. I'm reading them as fast as I can.
As you made mention with the judge there on the set, that coming up we are still going to have a hearing in Carroll County on October 31st, where the judge at that time will announce the new team that is going to defend Richard Allen in court, and she will set new court dates because obviously we cannot go forward with this trial on January 8th.
Moving forward, there's so many key critical dates that are upcoming. So you mentioned that October 31st hearing, but on November 1st, that was the previous deadline set by now his former.
Good point. There was a previous deadline set for November 1st for all discovery to be handed over from the prosecution to the defense. So at least, we always try to look for a silver lining, right? At least, everything can be handed over to this new defense team fairly quickly. I mean, maybe it won't be the longest delay of all time. Who knows? Let's hope it's not like a whole year delay. It's just a couple of months. I don't know.
Attorneys for the prosecution to deliver all of their discovery, their evidence in this case. So what does that now do moving forward as we seem like the January trial may still happen? How does that impact everything if your new attorneys get everything for discovery just a day after they've been on the case?
Well, it was stipulated last week that the prosecutor, Nicholas McCleland of Carroll County, said, yeah, I can agree. Let's set a November 1st deadline. I can give you everything that we've got in our possession. Now, the judge did mention that, so now going forward, one, the current defense team, which said in its pleading this morning, hey, now all of our evidence is locked up behind lock and key in a locked room and in storage cabinets so nobody else can get to it anymore. Two, she mentioned that she directed that the defense team.
That's still so shocking to me. Now, don't worry, everything is locked away now. No, it really should have been this whole time. It's a case that's already had many leaks. Sorry, now my voice is going. With Ron Logan's search warrant was leaked. Kegan Klein's transcripts were leaked. A whole bunch of things were leaked, and at some point that probable cause affidavit. Remember when that came out with all the witnesses' names, and they're like, "Whoops, sorry, didn't redact that." So sometimes the court is also at fault sometimes, because sometimes they've released things and then gone like, "Oh, sorry about that. Let's make that private," or like, "Oopsie, forgot to redact that. Oh dear, it's been like a giant mess there." But yes, the stuff should have always been secure and locked up, right?
To turn over all the evidence it has received from the state in discovery back over to, I'm assuming, the state, which would be the prosecutor's office. Prosecutor's office holds on to that. When the new team comes on October 31st, that's when they'll be publicly named. Perhaps, I'm assuming right now, the judges even got her feelers out, whether it's to the Supreme Court or to the Public Defender's Council, trying to find the next set of public defenders for Richard Allen. Then when those folks are officially named to the case, then that whole discovery process starts all over again. The upside to that is the Carroll County prosecutor and the past defense team have had a whole year to gather up that evidence, to file it, to make it so it's usable, so it can be read, so it can be documented and looked at. And that will be sitting literally probably in the Carroll County prosecutor's office. What's today? Thursday. I would say probably this weekend you're going to see a lot of boxes come up from Franklin, and
We'll see a lot of boxes. Woody Deason said, did I miss why they withdrew? No, there's actually a lot of gaps, a lot of information that we're like, what really happened? What happened in those chambers? I'm going to show you a little article right after this as well, where the defense is saying they were coerced to withdraw. So we shall take that as we just with caution, right? Okay, so let's continue here quickly.
Logansport and headed back to the prosecutor's office, and that's where it will sit until it is turned over to the new defense team.
A lot of complications rising from this news today. Russ, you were there in the courtroom when we learned of these rather stunning developments. What was the mood there in the courtroom? You mentioned Allen's family being there, but also certainly everyone's thoughts with Abby and Libby's families and everything they've been through throughout the course of this entire proceeding since the murders back in 2017. Any reaction yet? What was the mood there in the courtroom when this was announced?
I can tell you the courtroom was full. About a quarter of it had family members from Libby and Abby's families, only a couple people representing the Allen side of the defense in this. But most of the courtroom was full with press, social media, and other observers. And of course there was an audible gasp from many of the social media folks as they grasped the significance of what the judge was saying from the bench. those of us who have covered this case so long could tell by just watching the back hallway, by watching the time pass on the clock, by understanding what we knew was going on behind the scenes, that as the half hour between 2 and 2:30 clicked on, seeing the people who were in the courtroom, and more significantly the people who were not in the courtroom or those who were leaving the courtroom, I had a pretty good idea of the type of conversations that were going on. So while this...
I'm going to pause there again. Elwing says, were these crime pics leaked deliberately to foil the defense? I put this on the screen here because I think that's going to be a big question, divided opinions now of, was this purposeful sabotage, or did they want this defense team out because they were getting too close to information? Or is it just that, get these guys out of here with all their antics and nonsense? I don't feel like that. I'm going to just say, I'm going to stay nicely perched on the fence. I'll be neutral here. I want to hear what you guys say. I think we need more information. What happened in those chambers? Why exactly? But the thing is, it's a very serious problem that things were leaked that were in the possession of the defense team, right? Katrina said the defense is still responsible for the leak since it was leaked from their office or employee.
Certainly was stunning news. It was not unexpected that what needed to be weighed in the judge's mind as she looked at this, and of course you got to understand, she only became aware of this leak a little over a week ago, and of course we broke the news along with the Murder Sheet podcasters over the weekend. So since she became aware of this leak just a week ago, she had to have some time to weigh this. She also did not get the motion filed by Andrew Baldwin's attorney, David Hennessy, until 10 o'clock this morning. And in that motion, he said, to pull my client, Baldwin, off this case now would be detrimental to the case. It would be detrimental to Richard Allen's rights. Richard Allen and Baldwin have established a rapport and a partnership in this, so this will be hard on his rights. However, what the judge needed to take into consideration was, today was the third time she had to deal with this defense team when it came down to issues of either public pronouncements, gag order, or the leak of confidential information. There was a previous leak, which was accidental, kind of literally a slip on a computer sending an email last April. So she's had to deal with this now 3 times. And also, it would make sense in the back of the judge's mind, if she doesn't solve this problem with this defense team now, and Richard Allen becomes convicted, appeal issue number 1 for his appeals attorneys at the appellate court is going to be, Your Honors, the trial judge knew 3 times that this defense team was playing sloppy with the rules and playing sloppy with the evidence, and now...
Yeah, sloppy is not good in any trial, in any case, but in such a high-profile case that's been so devastating all along. Oh, no, don't be sloppy now. Robin said, I think whoever had the leaked photos should be included in the gag order so they can't be talking about them. I just wonder why. What is the motive of someone who gets their hands on the photos and then wants to leak them? You know what I mean? Why would they contact a YouTuber and be like, okay, look at this. And then that YouTuber gives it to the Murder Sheet podcast, and then they contact law enforcement. It's like, why would they do that? Is it to try to disprove what the defense is saying or claiming? Because it didn't really sound like it did that. I've obviously heard lots of people describing it now, which that is just horrible. Oh my word. To hear all that. I never want to see those photos. I think one cannot unsee them. It's a real problem, but it's so weird how people are like, ooh, guess what I've got the pictures of the crime scene, which is devastating. Why do you think that's valuable to now share around? Ooh, that's horrible. So I don't really know what to think about it. What happened here?
Now we wonder if they were compromised when they defended our client. That would, of course, only be a factor if he is convicted, and we are a long way from even hearing that case now.
Even longer than we were earlier. Russ, we do have some video.
Okay, so that was it for this clip. I'm just quickly going to answer some questions here. We're going to look at some more. Vanilla Cupcake says, was the employee fired before or after the leak? So they said former associate, but remember there were 3 disseminators. So there's 2 others. There's the former associate and 2 others, and one of them took their own life, and it's all just very strange, right? Very sad, very strange. So let me show you this article quickly, and then we'll just see if there's another video clip or two that I want to show you there. This is, of course, don't get triggered now that it's from Fox News. Some people get so mad. I'm just reading an article, okay, that's come out. I'm not choosing any political sides. I just wanted to show you this. So Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen's defense team withdraws from the case after alleged leaked photos. Yes, Kate, before I read it, justice needs to be above all suspicion, but poor families of Libby and Abby, heartbreaking. Absolutely. So they say here, the defense counsel for Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen withdrew from the double murder case Thursday after allegations that leaked photos of the crime scene came from one of the attorney's associates. The gruesome images, which were shared via text and appeared on social media, were taken in the wooded area off the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi, Indiana, where Libby German 14 and Abby Williams 13 were murdered after they disappeared from a hike on February 13th of 2017. We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen, Carroll County Judge Fran Gull said during Thursday's hearing, which was recorded by Fox 59 Indianapolis. Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn the representation of Mr. Allen. Gull ordered Allen, who is entitled to new counsel, to be sent back to the Westville Correctional Facility. She also ordered his counsel to send discovery back to the state of Indiana. The attorneys Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rozzi agreed to cooperate with successor counsel, Gull added. I'm glad they made the main focus here, Abby and Libby. You know, that's nice. A nice change in this article. Normally it's just like the suspect, right? The suspect. Okay. Baldwin's attorney, David Hennessy, told Fox News Digital that the attorneys did not quit the case, but withdrew under coercive circumstances. So that's an interesting sentence, but I think it's one of those of like, you messed up, you're either going to withdraw now or I'm going to dismiss you. You know what I mean? Don't you think it's a situation like that? That would make sense to me. Kerry said, attorney offices are run by paralegals, so could have had several helping on the case, having access to files. So that's what Baldwin was talking about exactly. Yes. So they said here one more time that this David Hennessy, one of the top defense attorneys in the country, apparently said attorneys did not quit the case, but withdrew under coercive circumstances. They dedicated their lives to an innocent client. Hennessy filed a memo Thursday to argue that Baldwin should not be disqualified from representing Allen because they had developed a strong and trusting bond prior to his withdrawal. Disqualification of either of his court-appointed attorneys would greatly prejudice his right to counsel and a timely trial, Hennessy said in the filing. Disqualification of counsel is an extreme remedy for an alleged or perceived violation. This is from the document we read earlier, right, of a court's order. Most, if not all cases concerning disqualification of counsel involve conflicts of interest. Hennessy further argued that Baldwin should not be disqualified when an individual not part of the attorney's office or staff surreptitiously purloins information from the attorney and disseminates it without permission or the attorney's knowledge. Miss Dog Lover, thank you for your sticker. You said resigning and admission of guilt? I don't think so, but I don't know. So we read through the documents before. This is directly quoted from there. They say the co-hosts of the Murder Sheet podcast, Kevin Grizzly and Anya Kane, were first to report an alleged connection between Baldwin and the photo leak. I know that concerns some people because they themselves have leaked quite a few things along the way, right? Some people are now saying they were like close to the defense team. I don't think so. I think they've always been close to McCleland, the prosecution, right? Or law enforcement or whatever. I'm not too sure. But, like when Ron Logan's, the search warrant related to Ron Logan's property came out, they were the ones that got that, right? Am I remembering correctly? I think so. And then also the King Klein transcripts and a few things along the way. But this was like, oh dear, call the police and let them know what's leaked now. Very interesting events. So then they said, Kane added that they did not expect themselves to preemptively withdraw themselves, especially because Baldwin brought Hennessy in to defend him. Obviously, their plans changed quite a lot. So that's what people are saying. Because of the documents that came out early in the day, with Baldwin fighting for, staying as part of the defense counsel, it's that they didn't expect to withdraw by themselves. They're basically saying, based on that, they think that they were told, you're either going to withdraw now or you're going to be dismissed. Like, make your choice. Could be something like that. And as we saw that Baldwin made an oral motion to withdraw and he didn't go into the courtroom. He just walked right past that door. We saw that clip. Rozzi went into the courtroom and called out, which is interesting in itself too. Like, why did they all say, like, okay, come, we're going now, to Richard Allen's wife and mother? They must be very upset. Oh my goodness. It's upsetting for everyone. They are victims too, you know. We say, Hadier says they should have dedicated some time to securing the evidence. I know, right? So, anyway, so they said, Kane added they did not expect themselves to preemptively withdraw themselves, especially because Baldwin brought Hennessy in to defend him, brought in the big guns. Obviously, their plans changed quite a lot. And especially because the cameras, you know, were now allowed in the courtroom. To me, it looks like McCleland and the, you know, the whole vibe there. It's like they knew, oh man, it's about to go down. Like, they're going to be dismissed, which it makes some sense. Mary says maybe the leak was from an Odin follower. I wonder. Thank you so much, Mary, for your sticker. So they said Fox News Digital learned this week that a person associated with the photo leak died by suicide. Authorities arrested Allen in October of 2022, for those who, this is a good recap for if you didn't know, for allegedly murdering Libby and Abby, whose remains were found in the woods a day after they disappeared from their hike on the Monon High Bridge trail. Prosecutors say evidence from the crime scene matched evidence collected from Allen's home when police served a search warrant last year. Allen also allegedly confessed to the crimes. That is the biggest thing here, that Richard Allen confessed to the crimes multiple times to his wife and mother. That's going to be the most difficult for the defense team. Even the new team, ooh, that's going to be a difficult one. And I wonder if they're going to continue on the path. I don't think so. The Odin angle, I think they're going to choose a new path, but I wonder what it will be. Imagine being that new defense team now. Wow. So they said Allen also allegedly confessed to the crimes he's been accused of committing about 5 times while speaking with his wife over the phone from jail. Of course, the other train of thought is, what if he really was threatened, intimidated to do so? Allen's defense, however, alleged in court documents filed last month that Libby and Abby's deaths were part of a ritualistic sacrifice performed by members of a pagan Odinist cult in Indiana, arguing that branches and other items found at the scene of the girls' murders were arranged in patterns specific to Odinism. Prosecutors called the claims colorful, dramatic, and unprofessional. Police recovered Libby's cell phone. Okay, we all know this, all this stuff already, right? We've gone over all of this before. If you're not too familiar with it, I hope you will familiarize yourself with the case and check out the playlist. Big Fish Small Pond says, interesting how the judge always addresses the prosecution's issues, but have been setting aside defense's motions since the bail hearing. Change to suppression, set over into forever. Yeah, the impression is, of course, that the judge doesn't have a very good grip on the case, because it seems to me from the outside, I know many of you have said so in the comments as well, it feels like McCleland is really running the show there, and that's apparently part of the reputation, right? And the judge, previously, Judge Benjamin Diener, recused himself, which just adds mystery, of course. People are like, whoa, the judge recused himself, and now the defense team withdraws. It all seems very sus, but they might be completely separate issues, right? We'll just have to see. Okay, let's just see what other clips I've got for you here quickly. Did we look at this one? Wait. There's a few of them here. Attorneys withdraw from the case. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure I'm showing you everything. Oh yeah. The family left the courtroom here. Let me show you this one quickly. Shame, man. I can't imagine how Libby and Abby's family are feeling now. Because, I mean, they're hanging in there for almost 6 years. Going, and now it's like, oh man, now the defense attorneys withdrew, and now they need to get a new defense team for Richard Allen. It feels like it would start from scratch, right? Stringed Assassin says, here's another honest question to anyone. If the Odin Club was going to string Ari up for the crime, why did it take years to bring him in? Right, good question.
Involved in this case, the investigators, the counsel, and the family members, everyone. So no one would talk. And let's take a look at folks as they were leaving today. Take a look. That is Prosecutor Nick McCleland leaving, and he had nothing to say today as he left the courthouse. Libby German's grandparents were also here, Mike and Becky Patty. They also.
So that's Nicholas McCleland walking there. Look at him go. I'll show you.
As he left the courthouse, Libby German's grandparents were also here, Mike and Becky Patty. They also remained quiet as they left. Investigators said nothing as they left today. All of these folks arrived early and they left.
So this is Libby's mom. And this is Libby's granddad. Yes.
Left quickly when the hearing was over. Now, we learned from defense filings this morning that there was some kind of leak out of Baldwin's office, not by staff, but by someone close to Baldwin who had access to his office.
I'm surprised they don't have a plant in this box, you know, like you see on the movies when it's like you just got fired, you got your box with a plant in, like, oh damn, they've got the box carrying it out there. Okay.
Office space, and defense was concerned that this could possibly disqualify them, so they filed a memorandum.
To clarify, those were not the attorneys. I just saw the box and thought of that.
This morning saying a disqualification would be an extreme remedy to take, and this filing seemed to indicate that they were fighting to stay on the case. Then this afternoon, that decision announced by Judge Gull that the defense attorneys for Richard Allen were quitting, were withdrawing, and Judge Gull.
Okay, I just wanted to show you the clip of the families walking out, and let's just see this one quickly. Oh yeah, this was just this one again. That's it. And I was also just showing you David R. Hennessy, who he is. But that's pretty much it. So we've actually looked at everything I wanted to show you. Kerry said, to be fair, the prosecutor is bound by the gag order, so couldn't say much. Yes, yes. I know. Just been watching him and his friend for a while. Not going to go there now. If you're on Patreon, you know. So Donna said the cameras seem suspicious now. I think by the time... I think things escalated quickly, right? Unless they just really wanted that because it was going to be in Allen County and not in Carroll County, this hearing. And if it wasn't on camera, maybe it would have raised even more suspicions. You know, if they said, okay, yeah, there can be cameras in the courtroom, and then last minute go, oh crap, things have really escalated now. No more cameras. That would have been really weird. Okay, so I'm just reading some of your comments still. A book girl said, yes, he quit because they were about to be sanctioned for the leak. I would bet on it. Yep, that sounds very plausible. Let's see some of your thoughts as well here. Nancy said, the bridge guy video really bugs me. The guy looks like he's wandering around, looking at his feet, which would be completely opposite of a guy hunting these girls. I already want to see the entire video. Right, we've got like a second. So, someone definitely experienced walking over the bridge, because, whoa, that bridge looks scary. I mean, they've renewed the whole bridge now as well. So, yes. Steel guitar. Let me play the tribute for you guys, and then you'll see exactly who they are. But don't go yet. Don't go. I'll be right back, okay? I hope that helped anyone who's still confused. You know, if you're just new following the case, you are welcome. And to ask your questions like you did, like which one is Abby and Libby, I hope that helped. And if you will check out the playlist, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of presentations there. I know there's a lot of us here that are visual learners, as am I, of course. That's why I love making presentations for you guys. We love bullet points and presentations and pictures and things so that we can remember very easily. Now, what I was waiting for today was actually Bradley Rozzi's written motion to withdraw. I would love to see that. I have been in contact with the court clerk there in Carroll County today, but that document is not yet available. So maybe it really is going to take a couple of days. Maybe he's going to write it up this weekend. I don't know. Maybe it's going to happen still today. Whatever happens, if there's more documents, more updates, anything else that happens, I will keep you posted. Once the new defense counsel is elected, I will definitely deep dive them as well. I did that on the playlist as well, where we looked at, well, who is Bradley Rozzi? Who's Andrew Baldwin? So there's actually an episode on that. We looked at their expertise and all of those sort of things. So let's see who the new team will be. I hope that, I mean, you never know, maybe the new potential team is watching. I hope they feel encouraged, know they got this, okay? Starting a clean slate. Sure, it's going to be hectic. Miss Doglover said, as the sister of a brother who lost his life at the hands of another. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'd just like to reiterate that we are all here supporting the families and praying for justice for Abby and Libby. Thank you, Miss Doglover. That's exactly what my tribute is for as well. That is what we are here for. I do just want to add that, of course, Richard Allen's family, they are also victims. I mean, horrible. What they're going through too, right? Okay. Yeah, Melissa says, the very definition of hectic. Just when you think this case is, I don't even know what word to use to describe it. It's been such a wild journey, you know, such a rocky road to get here. And it was like, oh man, okay, it's almost trial time. Let's hope Richard Allen makes it there, because he looked like he was deteriorating in health, you know, losing a bunch of weight and eating paper and then confessing. And it just sounded not quite right. In fact, that makes me think the new defense team might actually go with a insanity plea at that point, huh? Don't you think? Can they do that in Delphi? I think they can do that in Indiana, can't they? Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they went that way rather than the Odin angle. And I feel like the defense team was actually starting to go that way of like, he's just practically losing his mind. So anyway, it was already like, is he going to be okay? Will he make it to there? But now it's like, oh man, oh dear. Now the defense team withdrew. So I'll keep you posted. I'm looking forward to read the live chat replay, and I'll also read all the comments. So leave me a comment below as well. While you're there, please like and share the video. It helps to, you know, get the information out. Maybe people haven't really heard of this yet. When I posted it on Patreon yesterday, there were a few that hadn't heard the news yet. So also please check out my community tab, because I always share things there for you guys, or my YouTube shorts and things like that. And then I'll keep you posted, and I'll see you in the next one. Yes, Okie Dokie says justice for Abby and Libby. So sad that everything is still delayed. And it's, yeah, Janet says cray case. Thank you, mods. Really appreciate it. Thank you, patrons, members, and everyone who subscribed today, and everyone who was already subscribed. And I'll see you in the next one. Happy Friday. Okay, bye. Stay safe.